You know, your actual character, or you buff up your cards, but the buff only lasts for one turn, or the turn you're on. So you guys need to really read your cards. A hunter is a good one. A druid is a really good one. A priest is a really good starter deck, and I would want to say, just depends on what kind of person you are. Those three are pretty good. Hunter being because you have an immense amount of damage if you're really, really fast. A druid, or even a priest, or even maybe even a paladin if you actually read the cards, because of the healing aspect where you could stay alive a lot longer.
Well, druid, good call on that, because druid is gonna come up a lot more in constructed play because they have a new card coming out that clears the whole board of minions and then places two treants on your side of the board, and that's gonna be such a ultimate troll move. But Hunter, what's great about Hunter is that even though he's now not as viable, now everybody's running Hunter because the pros are running them. He's still one of the best classes to play because you get the aggressiveness, and it's also super cheap to build, like as in free if you do it right. But just some of the fundamentals. I'm gonna bring Fred into this. I want to see what his perspective is on this. But you know, some of the fundamentals you got to kind of master, and I'm gonna put an emphasis on fundamentals. You know, you can enjoy the game more rather than just kind of throwing things against the wall and see what sticks. You know, one of the things you want to pay attention to is tracking lethal. A common mistake I see with people when I try to coach them through the game is that they have lethal, they can finish the game, but they're so focused on clearing the board that they miss the opportunity. All right,
and they lose.
Yep. So, you know, basic math skills. Make sure you get those up, and make sure you get, you know, you take lethal when you can, and similarly, you gotta get a feel for when to trade on the board or go straight to their face. If there's a threat on the board that could get out of control, if you know that class, and the more you play, the more familiar you get with the different heroes, different classes you could play. You'll know, all right, he can heal he's doing a lot of heals, he's doing a lot of buffs. I may not want to leave any minis on the board, so they get a higher priority. Or if you feel like you have things to mitigate damage or deal with minions later on, you might just go straight to the face and try to speed things up and be aggressive. So knowing when to trade, when to board clear, or go straight to the face, very important skill to develop, and that comes with experience. The order of attack, Obi, you mentioned this. Sometimes if you do things out of order, it backfires, so be wary of that. The order in which you play cards and do moves could change things completely. Also, the notion of control versus aggro or rushing. Some decks are focused more on control, manipulating the board, buffing cards, clearing the board, taking over minions, stuff like that. And some of them is just about getting as much damage out as fast as possible and making it overwhelming for your opponent to counter what you're doing. You know, forcing them to react to everything you do and controlling the tempo. Then spells versus mini. When you're deck building, you may not want a lot of spells, you may not want a lot of minis, depends what you're trying to do, but you may want to commit to one side or the other and build around that core concept. But one more thing, we talked about legendaries and epics and how they kind of break the game, and again, I disagree. There's basic cards you get for free just by ranking up your characters, by playing the game, that could deal with legendaries and epics. It's difficult, but it's doable. Now, Fred.
Sure.
What has been your experience in a nutshell?
No problem. Well, and again, I think a lot of people think of me as a casual player for Hearthstone because I haven't played too much. But you have to understand, I got out of gaming from 1993 to 1997 to play a little game called Magic: The Gathering, and I actually was a hardcore tournament player. I got in with Magic at beta and got out around somewhere around the dark was when I quit, for those of you former Magic players. And Hearthstone holds a lot of very similar characteristics. I should also point out I've never played World of Warcraft. So going into it, that's the thing. You know, I've heard a lot of people say, well, if you like World of Warcraft, you're totally going to get it. Well, I have no idea what these creatures are.
Stop right there.
Okay.
It's not just World of Warcraft. It's Warcraft 1, 2, and 3. I just want to make that out known to everybody.
Yeah, and I've played Warcraft 1 and 2. So.
Okay, so you're familiar with the Warcraft universe. Because I hate when people say, oh, this is World of Warcraft but with cards. No, it's a Warcraft universe expanded into a card game. The Warcraft universe goes back to the 90s, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, okay. But Yogi, you got to understand that there are people who play. Most people who play Hearthstone weren't alive when Warcraft came out.
I know. I'm being a grumpy old man. I'm sorry.
No, I played I'm 33 years old right now this year, okay, in June. I played Warcraft. I started at age 9.
Yep.
There you go. That's how old it is,
Dial
guys.
up. Your mom would pick up the phone and ruin the whole match. Oh, it was horrible.
I was pissed.
But
that's why you disable call waiting. Disable call waiting.
Mom, hang up the phone. Jesus Christ. Oh, no.
Mom, hey, I'm going to die. Hey, all right, I'll be off in a second. No, I'm going to die, you stupid. Oh, you ass. What did you say to me? Nothing.
I had 7 Cyclops heading to the base. What the? No, but yeah. Yeah, with Hearthstone, I agree with a lot of the things you're saying, and I do think that I mean, for me, my biggest part is knowing kind of what actions to take and when to, because it's been my experience, especially with Magic and then now with Hearthstone, that if you can figure out the tactics and if you can get the tactics down, really any deck can beat any other deck. Mm-hmm. With the right circumstances. And again, that harkens back to the Magic days of what we called the white weenie deck, the idea that a bunch of common cards could take down the best tournament play and level cards. Yeah. And I always play Hearthstone like that because to this moment, I've never spent any money, but I can understand where if I really want to get pretty competitive, I might not, or I might want to. Now, I will say I'm currently on win 8 in an arena run that's working out really well for me. So I've got 8 wins, 2 losses. So everything's high risk, but it's a pretty wicked hunter deck. And I will tell you that the changing of the cost of whatever that is, Call of the Wild, which gets you all those beasts with instant charge.
Unleash the Hounds.
Unleash the Hounds going from 2 to 3 does not change the dynamic of that deck one smidge.
It doesn't. They say it nerfed it.
Not at all.
The only thing that's changed in the meta is that now that the pros are playing that and everybody else is net decking and following suit, now people are creating counters just for the hunter decks.
Yeah, and I have some of those built in because when I play competitively, I have a deck of every single class type because I want to start to get to know them and the strengths of them. Yeah. I personally find myself having the best luck with the Paladin and the Warlock, but I play in a kind of awkward play style. I think that's the one thing I got going for me is I play Hearthstone very much like people play chess. And actually, I had a circumstance like that earlier today where the guy looked like he had the deck stacked against me, but he was, like you said, too focused on what was going on the board. And so in the meantime, I got just enough damage to take him out.
Yep.
And that's one of those things. And I'm going into that turn, and it was a risky turn, right? Because if he thinks to take out my weakness, then he's good. Like, there was a way he could have won that game. But I'm like, God, if he does not focus on that, this is checkmate. He can attack me with everything, and he's going to do 19 damage, and that is huge in Hearthstone. In one turn, 19 damage, and I had 24 life, so I even had 5 to spare on my plan. But just like chess, if you can't get there, I'm going to take you out. And he didn't even realize it, and he was focusing way too much on what was on the board and trying to take that stuff out. And so I think that's a very good tactic. And for me, that's why, kind of your advice of like, don't spend money right off the bat. Learn to win without the cards and then use the cards to strengthen that kind of killer instinct even further.
Yep.
And that's why I've done that. I'm not confident yet enough in that. And the arena is a great way to get you outside of your comfort zone. I'm trying to get good with almost every play style, although I've been playing around with a priest deck where you flip the script. There's a card for the priest that comes out, and I think it's a 3/5, and it every time you heal, it instead inflicts damage.
Oh yes.
And I've got a deck that I'm playing with right now that specifically is all about trying to get him on the board as fast as possible, and then and keeping everything alive or life-giving as best as possible, because suddenly your deck that keeps you afloat becomes the craziest burn deck you've ever had. And so
it mills you and you run out of cards.
Yeah, and people don't really know how to work with it right now. Like, people don't know how to react to it, and I like that.
Yes.
Right?
Break the meta, man. Break the meta.
Yeah, well, because I said that's one of my biggest criticisms, and this happened with Magic the Gathering a lot too, is they'll publish the decks, and everybody will copy them. Do you know how many decks I see that were just recently on the Blizzard website as a suggested hunter deck or something? It's ridiculous.
Yep.
And so I learned first and foremost how to counter those decks, and I try not to do it with cards. Your best bet is to do it with play style. And again, if you do stuff that people aren't used to, they're not going to know how to react to you, and you can kind of play with their head. And again, that's sounding a lot more complicated than you think it is. It's just that you're setting them up so that if they play the basic style and the way their deck's supposed to play, if they stick to their deck, then they're not going to win because you can kind of overcome the combos they have and know what key cards to take out and what not. And so that's been a big part of it for me. But again, I haven't focused too much on playing, too hardcore one way or the other. But I'm really getting into that whole like awkward play style and throwing people off. And it reminds me of the old days of Scry magazine, if you guys were ever Magic the Gathering people, where there used to be puzzles where they'd throw you in a scenario where there's only one way you can win, but it's hard to figure it out. I think Hearthstone's perfect for stuff like that. And that's how I play, and I tend to have a pretty high risk, high reward game, which makes me not really good for upper level play, and I'm not there yet, but at least it gets me thinking. And again, the way I used to win Magic the Gathering tournaments was being the one guy who had the deck that no one was prepared for. And you want to bring something new, because if you do something templated, people are going to know how to deal with it. They know the weakness of that deck right off the bat. And so I'm trying to do that. And again, it comes with its cost, but it's just fascinating to me. Hearthstone's going to be huge. It is huge.
I love it. And I do recommend for newer players, Arena is the best way to play. It's better than buying the packs right up front, because if you can get 2 or 3 wins at least, it's more bang for your buck. But that said, it does level the playing field, but you do have to have some experience with deck building games, or at least play the game long enough to get the fundamentals, so you can get the most out of the arena run. And 8 wins is really good. I mean, there's runs when I'm playing and I'm experimenting, and I'm lucky if I get 3 wins. 8 wins, and you could get a total of what, 10? That's really. I
don't know. I've never gone 8. I didn't know you could go this long.
10 is the highest.
Okay.
Yeah, 10 is the highest. You get this
10
different keys.
Ridiculous.
Dude, that's super impressive. So that's awesome.
I was tempted to jump into it right before the show, but I was like, no, I'm not going to jinx it. I'm going to come in with a fresh head, because now it's a really high stakes.
Yep.
But again, the other 2 things that's very big is definitely, guys, the most basic skills. Watch for combos. They're written right into the cards, like Yogi says. Read the cards, and do not. The most dangerous player on the board is the one with the larger hand, and keep that in mind. Don't hold stuff, but don't be quick to drop your whole hand, because then you have run out of options for whatever they might do. Yep. I never like it when I've got less cards than my opponent.
Well, that's card draw is always a big thing, and having options for future turns. You got to plan ahead, like in chess. But another thing is that when you know your opponent, you know the different classes. Like, for example, with a hunter and a mage, you may not want to fill up the whole board, because they could probably clear the whole board with like a flame strike or unleash the hounds. So you got to be wary of that for sure. Stan,
I'm here.
Stan, what are some of your concerns and observations? Let's bring you into this conversation. I know you have a lot of bones to pick with the game. Now, we still got a good 17 minutes or so at least. So let's lay it on the table. Come on. Go ahead.
When I started playing the game, I was losing all the time. That's not fun.
See, but you gotta go into the game willing to lose and take your lumps right off the bat. That's one of the things that's really hard.
How many lumps?
Depends how big your head is.
I was losing. I remember I was losing, 1 out of 30 games. Maybe worse.
And you broke down down the math, because you said if each game takes like 10 minutes and you're losing, 29 games and so many hours, and you need 3 wins to get 10 gold, it's a long grind. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah, and that's that's bad game design according to Facebook, because you have to get people hooked within the first 2 hours of gameplay, and losing all those 20 hours is not a good way to design a game. No, I mean, I'm into the game now. I'm winning 1 out of 3. I only do ranked play, so it's hard. It's really hard. And yeah, people are creative. You know, the problem with bringing something new in terms of bringing that different deck, the problem with that is there's not enough cards. They need more cards.
Well, that's going to be addressed with Curse of Naxxramas. The 30, it's going to be 30 cards or so coming out. But
well, be careful with that mentality because Magic had the same problem for a long time.
Yeah, and now Magic comes out with freaking releases every couple of months.
Well, yeah, that's out of control. But even like the simplest expansion, I think the first expansion was Arabian Nights that came out, and that changed the game so dynamically. And then I just remember everybody was like, we need more cards. And then Arabian Nights came out, and they were like, okay, this broke the game in every which way, shape, and form. We didn't need this in here. Let's go back. I remember tournaments. People turned on the expansion. People were like, no, we're doing only unlimited. That's the only, tournament we'll do. So, but I do agree with you that there are a lot of cards from the onset, but it is already starting to get quite derivative on the high-end play front.
Well, I think there's still a lot of things that people could do and experiment with. I'm still finding out new things that sometimes I'll play with a deck and something will just suddenly dawn on me and I say, hey, I could do this, and it'll be something that I haven't seen myself yet. Because I refuse to go net decking and see what the pros are playing and try to copy them. Maybe I might get some of the ideas from the for the core of the deck from them, and then I'll retool it to my play style. But yeah, if the meta gets stale, deck building games get very boring very quickly. You don't want to keep playing the same decks. I mean, there's another deck building game I play a lot. I mean, there's a lot of them I play, but Soulforge is a great game, and the company behind it is fantastic. And I've worked with them, and they promoted my streaming and all this stuff that I'm doing to promote them as well. And it's been a great collaboration. But that game, the meta on there got so stale. And they released new cards, and it did not fix it because people just ultimately kept running one of like 3 decks. So more cards definitely isn't a solution. I like what you said, Fred, about having structured play, where you can say, all right, no epics or no legendaries, or so different kind of conditions to compete with, different kind of tournaments where it forces people to think outside the box and not just use these pre-made decks.
Yeah, at the same time, the one thing I will give as advice is definitely, especially if you're new to it, look at those pre-made decks. Don't take them competitively, but assemble them, see what they're doing, play against the computer. The best plan is take something online and play against the expert players, the computer players. That's a good way to get practice and kind of see what those decks are trying to accomplish, and it gets your mind going so that you can make your own.
Yep. Practice mode is good. And with Curse of Naxxramas, they're adding more single-player content that's going to be great for training because it's going to be more like that scenario puzzle kind of thing you were talking about with Magic, where they put you into a situation, you have to figure out how to get out of it. But there might be more than one solution, and I think that's a really cool way of doing it. I actually, in the Duels of the Planeswalker games for Magic, I've always loved the puzzles, the challenges they do, where it's like you're stuck in this seemingly impossible situation, and there's only really one solution. You have to figure out what it is. Really good training.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and that's the big thing with those. A lot of people were complaining at first. They were like, well, everyone's got the same cards, so then it's not very competitive. And I'm like, oh, really? I'll challenge you to any. With Magic, I've been playing for so long. I'm pretty confident. I'm not the best player out there by any means, but for most people who say that, I'm like, yeah, let's go toe to toe with the same deck, because it comes blatantly down to a little bit of shuffle and 80% play style.
Yep. Hey, actually, since you're a big Magic player, you're probably much bigger than I am. I mean, I love Magic, and I've been playing from the beginning too, but I never quite got that competitive because I felt like it started becoming a money grab. And I have some other complaints with it. Hearthstone is nowhere as bad with the monetization, but
not yet.
Well, at the pace they're going right now, it's a good pace. They're focusing on the core mechanics. But
the scariest thing I heard was Garnett Lee saying that if you want to play competitively with Hearthstone, you probably need to buy approximately 30 packs to begin with. And I started remembering that a box of Magic cards is 30 packs. And suddenly I was like, shit.
They also there are people that say you need to spend $50 on the game to really start being more competitive. But several interviews with Blizzard developers, they said that they're trying to make it accessible for people that play free to play, or as well as the people that actually invest money. So I want to trust them.
That's true. So, well, I mean, they're going to try their best, but at the end of the day, money talks. But you know, I mean, in the same regard, $50 is still half of the price you'll spend on a box of Magic, and you probably need 3 boxes of Magic to start up on a level. So I mean, it's still cheaper.
Yeah, it is.
Any way you dice it.
Well, one of the things they're going to do to monetize is they're going to do like cosmetic things, of course, and they're going to have the first mission, so to speak, the first branch of Curse of Naxxramas, a single player, will be free, and then you have to pay for the rest of the episode. So I think that's fair. But you know, just a fun fact: you know Brian Kibler, the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the guys behind Soulforge. So I just wanted to share that fun fact if you weren't aware. So it's a game worth checking out if you haven't already. And that's for anyone listening in. You haven't checked it out yet, Fred?
No, I've heard good things, but again, time is always a factor.
Yeah.
And Hearthstone, you know, I don't have an iOS device. Once this hits Android, it's going to be huge because I've got 3 of those devices, and so I think I'll be playing more. But at the end of the day, I still like a good old-fashioned single-player campaign-style video game over Hearthstone. So,
yeah. There's so many games vying for our attention. Hey, Obi.
Yes.
What do you think about the top-tier players? You know, the consensus amongst them that the priests are not viable in high-level play. You said you like priests, right?
They're really not. I do like priests, but only for getting my coins. Just because people that are mostly doing coins, they really, you know, most of all the good players are actually in ranked. And they don't use priest. I don't use priest in rank. My wife doesn't use priest in rank. It's just because there's so many things that a priest can do, but if you miss one card, you're dead. I don't care if you're at 30 and he's at 15. You miss one card, or you mess up one time, damn near, you're dead. Because you're so squishy, you don't have anything. Unless you just stack up on minions and taunt cards and everything like that, you're not really going to do nothing. And if you're stacking up on all those taunt cards and minions and everything like that, guess what? You don't have any of your spell cards, your big healing, your divine shields, your smites, your anything, your board clearing, you know, your board clearing abilities. You don't have anything, so you got to be really, really careful when you're creating a priest deck. You got to make sure that you have your taunts and you have those few minions that will keep you safe. But you want to make sure that you get most of your class cards, because all your class cards, minus 1 or 2, it depends on your choice, are really, really effective and really, really good with each other and minions on the board. Just like a lot of hunter decks, if you have a, you know, I think there's a card, I don't remember what it's called exactly, but if you have a minion or a beast on the board, instead of 3 damage, you do 5 damage. You get 2 of those. That's 10 damage. That's 30%. Of your damage from the get-go if you get both of them. It's a 4-gem card, a 4-mana card, so you can do 10 damage in 2 turns. Just like what Fred said just a few minutes ago, 10 damage even is an amazing amount. That's a third of your health. So
well, and if you went second, you can do that turn 3 and turn 4. That's even bigger.
Right. Yep. Well, it's a 4-mana gem card.
Right, but you'll have the extra mana gem card in your hand, so you can pump it level 3. You cast a beast level 1 or 2, and beasts are cheap. And then and then on the 3rd turn you drop the gem, and you release the first one, and then you release the second one level 4. They're already down 10 plus whatever your beasts have been doing.
Yep.
You don't even have to pay attention to the board at that point,
right?
I mean, up until that point.
And that being said, that's when you can just sit there just like, haha, guess what? I'm just going to sit here because I'm a priest. Now, I have a 2 hit point heal every turn. Okay? I have my big heals like a druid would with 8 or whatever ability. And then if you have the buff cards to where you can buff yourself and heal yourself for over 10. If you have, you know, even just a hunter, if a hunter hits you with those 2 burst cards like I was telling you, and you still peel yourself up, guess what? He might not have that anymore, but he's got so much more that will just burst you down. Against a lock is going to burst a priest down quicker than crap. Yes, wait, I know what you're going to say, though, Yogi. Unless that lock is stupid enough to take a freaking card every turn. And then basically that lock's just saying, hey, Mr. Priest or Mr. Paladin or Mr. whoever I'm playing, I'm just going to chunk away life out of I'm just going to cut myself every turn So then all you have to do at the end of the is just hit me with 10 damage and you win. So I mean, like I said, there's good things and bad things about priests. If you could build the correct deck, and like I said before, read the cards. Because with the priest, you have to wait. You have to wait on certain cards to do certain things, or you're going to screw yourself in the end and not have enough damage near the end of the game.
Yeah, well, I have to say, Priest I used to think was a joke until I figured out some things for him, and I love that people are not really playing him. But I've ran into a lot of priests in ranked. I'm surprised. But I will say this. My priest deck it has answers and threats pretty much every turn. It has card draw. The Auctioneer, Northshire Cleric cycle is sick. And the thing about it, you could build a priest deck so it could be part aggro early game, and then late game it could be about every turn you're putting out threats and forcing the opponent to react, and you're controlling the tempo, and that's huge. When you put someone in a position where they have to react. Now, another thing at top, I know we gotta try to wrap this up so we get to our plugs and whatnot. But another thing that top tier players say is that taunts are kind of useless because you're sacrificing base stats for that taunt. But in certain situations where you could increase the stats of the taunt and protect key units like a Cult Master or a Northshire Cleric or a Auctioneer, there's a lot of things you could do with that taunt and buy yourself some time and regain tempo, shift the tide of the battle. So we're going to come back to this, but I do want to say that for our All Games family...
I got something else first. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
The reason I saw because Hearthstone has live play damn near every day. If you go to Hearthstone, it's on the league. It's on the channel. But the reason that the pro players... and yes, pro players already are not using priest decks, Yogi, is because they said in an interview here this past week is because they're too unreliable. They're not reliable enough, or they're not proficient enough to like you would have a hunter deck or a good beastie warrior deck. They're not proficient enough to that. They're either really, really good or really, really shitty. That's why they said they don't use them.
I think there's just a finesse to priest that people don't get. And if you make a mistake with the priest deck, you usually suffer. Whereas with a hunter deck or whatever people are running now, it's usually a little more forgiving. But anyway, moving on.
Well, actually, real quick, as a final statement, I also think that the bigger distinction is a hunter deck, you're in control of the next move, whereas a priest deck kind of almost anticipates a reaction. And so if they don't react the way you need them to, then the priest deck can suffer.
That's a fair assessment. We're gonna definitely come back to this, and Fred, maybe we could join us again in the near future so we keep the conversation going, because you're already making great strides and you've barely been playing the game compared to some of us. So
yeah,
we'll be. I'm a little scared to see where you'll be from a couple weeks from now. But
I just need to sit on Android.
Let's plug the
kidding.
Manny.
No kidding, man. So yeah, over at All Games, our extended family, Video Game Outsiders is doing. They're setting up a casual Hearthstone tournament. I'm gonna be going over there and signing up, and I hope everybody else does too, so we can just kind of do a geeky antics / HorsePLAY live / All Games, crossover and do some Hearthstone. It's gonna be a very casual thing. Just go to the Video Game Outsiders forums. You can just Google Video Game Outsiders. You'll find it just easily. And it's gonna be interesting because there's people of all layers, all levels over there. And Michelle, I think she's a ringer. Michelle acts like she's not that good of a player, but from just talking with her a bit, she knows her stuff, and she's gonna be scary. And I think Matt Bradford might be coming up in the rankings as well. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, Obi, take it away.
Moto.
Yeah, hello, Moto.
Hello, Moto.
We're gonna keep
all
that
right,
going.
guys. We want to get some plugs out of the way just because I don't exactly know where they're at, but we're going to get some plugs out of the way just because of the people that actually support us and actually just basically are 100 behind us 150%, such as big shout outs to our flagship show over. Wow, I'm stupid. Big shout out to our new flagship show over at geekyantics.net, the Gaming Death Podcast. Dude, welcome to the gang. We really enjoy having you. Guys, they will be on Twitch over at twitch.tv at Gaming Death. Okay, I am going to put these links on here every Thursday around 9 p.m. Eastern time, right before our live show, so you guys can watch the Ad Gaming Death, and you guys can watch then right afterwards watch the Obi-Wan X2 or right here at HorsePLAY. We're super stoked about having Chris, Don, Caleb, and Hollow joining the game. Welcome, guys. We really appreciate you guys joining and giving, and just I don't forgot what I was going to say actually, but HorsePLAY is on Stitcher. It's on Stitcher, guys. On Stitcher. HorsePLAY replays are on allgames.com. I lost my spot. Every Thursday around 5 p.m. Eastern time. And be advised that the new show will be coming around 7. And then you guys can catch out Spider Venom, a.k.a. Fred Rojas, right there on B Team Podcast right at 9 p.m., which is right before HorsePLAY Live. So we want to make sure that you guys check it out. HorsePLAY is on Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, BlackBerry, Windows, Zoom, and iTunes. Leave us a reviews on favorite. Subscribe on TalkShoe, iTunes, and Stitcher, guys. The more comments and feedback we get back, the better we can be as a show, as a talk show. Just because we love to do this and love to have fun. And love to get everybody, such as everybody listening right here, just get them engaged. Just because you guys are awesome. You guys don't forget to leave us a voicemail, 206-415-4987. Leave us a voicemail, or you can email us if you guys are shy. It's not a big deal. At geeky, it's mail@geekyantics.net. If they're good, we'll play them and read them live right on here on HorsePLAY on Thursday nights. The guest for tonight, we really appreciate you, JC, Stan Faryna, Spider Venom. You guys are still on here. Do you guys have any plugs you guys want to get out? Talk, of course, your shows and everything. Stan?
No, I got no shows now.
Shan, and I want to tell everybody, Stan is lonely. He's lonely. We want to get him, so lonely. Anyway, Spider Venom. You have anything you want to plug, bud?
Yeah, sure. I've got a few shows. So obviously I do the B Team podcast every Thursday at 9 p.m. with 3 other great guys. Chip, who was on last week, as well as Chris and Ryan. And occasionally this guy Jeff joins us, but he hasn't been around in a while. Additionally, now I've got this new show, Pixelated Pints. Feel free to check us out at insert it there. Twitter.com, Facebook, whatever. It's all there. And we're going to be doing those Mondays at 10 p.m. That's a show mostly about drinking beer and talking about the industry. And then, obviously, Gaming History 101 is on allgames.com, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Tuesday night. And I should point out that while we do talk about games, we talk a lot more about, the culture of gaming as opposed to actual games, although we do a monthly game club where we really get down to the nitty-gritty. And that's it.
Mr. Yogi, do you have any last thoughts or regrets?
No, absolutely no regrets, other than I wish we could go longer. Wait, that sounds really bad. But anyway.
That's what she said. I wish we could go longer, baby.
I set myself up for that one. I knew it. But I do want to say that. Go ahead, Ovi. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I got a really dirty comment. You go.
Okay. But, I am very proud of our new, Geeky Antics YouTube channel. I finally decided to do it, even though I'm still pissed off with how Google restricts stuff so much, and they make everything as backwards, and it drives me nuts. But other than that, I know that that's where a lot of our listeners and viewers are, and so we got that there, and we're showing a lot of love to our fellow streamers and podcasters and whatnot. So geekyantics.net, we got some cool playlists there. We're doing the hashtag Retro Friday stuff there. I got some of Fred's stuff on there. I'm gonna rope in Stan to do more stuff with me. Some podcasting and some video. So he'll stop. He'll leave his garden alone for a little while, and help us build a new kind of garden, a gaming garden, a geeky garden.
Definitely. You guys, thanks for watching. This is Jesus Christ. This is HorsePLAY. Just remember, guys, Yogi Zilla's got a new show coming up, and Obi-Wan X2. We got a new show coming up too, and I might be inviting Stan a little bit more than often. But thanks for watching Horseplay. This is Obi-Wan X2, my cohort, partner in crime, Yogizilla, Spider Venom, Stan Faryna, JC, all visitors. Thanks, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace. Are we clear?
Good show.
Clear.
That's fun. We actually covered quite a lot of content.
You're still streaming yours though. I want to know if we're clear on your end.
Oh,
Mr. Uncut.
Yeah, I'm still streaming the after show. I got disconnected. I don't know. My internet's been acting like a real asshole lately. I got disconnected like hour and a half later.
Fred, Stan, this is where I get in trouble most Thursday nights. It's because he's still streaming, and I'll sit there and go fuck, and just be like, damn, that was a good frickin' night. But he's still streaming, so you know
he is still streaming.
He is still streaming. Because he's
and recording locally. Whoa, what was that?
Yeah.
Whoa, is that you, Stan?
Fucking Stan's listening to your stream and you talking shit on it.
Oh, okay. I'm like, am I going senile? I'm hearing echoes in my head.
For any of you guys that that are on Yogi's stream that are still listening to us, we love you guys very much. You guys have been just unbelievably awesome to us. And I, Obi-Wan, I am very, very grateful just for the support. And even Fred, you, and of course Stan, you guys at All Games and the B Team podcast. Just we love you guys all. We really appreciate you guys supporting us and welcoming us, into the allgames.com family. I mean, really,
definitely, you guys got a good show. I like it.
I really appreciate that, man. It means a lot to us.
Word, I'm super stoked. We got a lot of collaboration going on. So Fred, you have to head out, or can you hang out for a little longer?
I got a couple minutes.
Okay. So Stan.
Yeah.
What other gripes do you have with Hearthstone? now you can air it out.
How is a card back a fucking reward? Am I 8 years old?
You didn't know? You didn't know you have to get...
I mean, there isn't even naked chicks on the card back. What's
I
up?
almost got naked chicks on my Twitter.
Witcher.
Hold on, is this recorded still?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, this is the uncut. People know that we get particularly filthy on the uncut.
We get dirty. We get dirty. We get dirty. We can have some fun. As long as you guys like some popsicles.
Have you seen my beard tibbers? Do you want to play?
So
That'll
creepy.
be fun.
So wrong.
Ooh.
I can never look at her the same way again. I'm gonna
Have
picture
you
a
guys met my
bald-headed man.
grandpa? Grandpa, where are you?
I'm right here, little girl. How are you doing, darling?
Boy.
Have you seen any little boys around?
I'm sure looking for them. You know what I'm saying? What? Hi, stream. I just remembered I'm getting streamed. Books.
This is the 4chan version of Horseplay.
This is the dirty version of Horseplay.
The 4chan version. That's great. 4chan.
Yeah, I got a guy that I play a video game with, and he does it to the T. He even has he even starts has the lisp and has the whistle, and yeah, it freaks me out until I start talking like Annie again and go,
Grandpa, shut the fuck up.
Oh man.
And there's so many people that sit there and go, "Oh, that's a voice changer."
No, it's
No.
not.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can vouch for that now.
So how are card backs a reward?
Well, actually, real quick, we're gonna get into that real quick.
You gonna explain that to me?
But for people were commenting, if you switch over to the uncut live stream right now, they were saying that we're not having enough fun, we're not being funny enough, that we're not horseplaying like we used to.
Well,
we get serious sometimes. We get deep sometimes.
We have to get serious sometimes, guys, and I'm going to explain something to you. We made Horseplay because Yogi and myself, along with all the friends that we've met, we love to play around, we love to fuck around, we love to play jokes on each other and just have fun. Now, there's a time, and you guys got to realize what actually happens behind the scenes, you know, what we're doing, you know, all week long. You guys, I'm telling you right now, Yogi is the busiest man I've ever seen in my life. Okay, with everything that he's got his fingers into, I swear to God, he should have no fingertips right now. Okay, okay, it's like a little kid poking his hand in the cookie jar. There ain't no fucking cookies left. Okay, this is all over the place. But he's good at what he does.
I'm more the guy that's trying to stick my hand into the mechanical arm machine and get that prize that's hanging off the side. Just saying.
And then the mechanical arm says, "No, bitch, that's mine."
Sometimes you have to game the game because the game is so broken.
Well, that's just broken games.
But, so Stan, go ahead, Obi. Go ahead, Obi.
Yeah. You got to call. I'm sweating like a crazy.
Dude,
I need
me
to go
too.
outside. But give me a call back because I don't know if my computer's it's starting to yell light on me.
Uh-oh.
Or did you? You're the leader of the call, right?
Yeah, I think I called you. I'm pretty sure I did.
All right. If it drops, I'll just add back. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, I figured how to. You finished with your thought?
He was gonna Stan. He was gonna ask you, and I'm gonna ask you too.
Well, he's gonna ask about he was asking about the card back thing. We have to address that first.
That's what I was gonna answer.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Well, what they did is when you're playing the game, okay, there's so many things like the first 10 levels you get cards and, you know, you get things to help you. Well, throughout those, you know, gameplays that they all did when they were actually trying to, you know, figure the game out and play it themselves before it came out and everything, they're sitting there going, guys, we need a badass reward. Okay. Well, a douchebag schmo, okay, that no longer works for Blizzard because he's a dumbass, says, "Hey, let's give him a card back."
All right.
So then developers was like, "Dude, that is awesome, retard schmo, you're a freaking genius." Well, he doesn't work there.
Oh no.
Okay.
Listen.
Thanks, George. Which way did they go? Okay.
There are definitely some bean counters and some suits that are like, this is an easy thing we can implement, and then it creates perceived value, and that's fair.
But there is no value to a fucking card back.
The value depends. It's a subjective thing, guys. It's a subjective.
Someone you can barely see their card back.
No, but okay, people are saying only the opponent can see it. No, you can't. Look at the side. You can see your cards hanging out there on the side, and you also see them when you first draw your cards. So you
but do I really care?
But
exactly.
All right.
I mean, really,
you may not care, but you know what it is? It's a badge of honor. It's a prestige item, and every game has some sort of prestige item when it has a multiplayer component. All right. How's it different from freaking skins on your guns on Call of Duty or freaking?
Well, I don't play that game, so.
Oh yeah, and that's fair enough.
Don't you even do it. Don't you say skins on League of Legends because that's not the same.
It is the same. And you're paying the same for the skins on League of Legends as you do for the characters. Now, why aren't we bitching about that? That's jacked up, man.
No.
Yeah.
No, because
I agree. That's also silly.
No, bullshit. All three of you. Fuck off. No.
It's a vanity. You're paying for a vanity item that costs the same as a character, or a character is more useful to you
You're dropping $20 on fucking card decks to get a freaking Alstraza.
That's your own prerogative. I have no legendaries, and I'm beating people with legendaries.
The skins are my own prerogative in League of Legends as well, too, right?
But how can you say on one end? How can you say on one end you don't like card backs? You're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls.
Dude, it's the card backs for Hearthstone, and I'm sorry, Stan and Fred, I know you guys want to get in on this, but this card backs for Hearthstone are freaking retarded. Why do I need to see? Why do I even give a flying fuck in the first place on who I'm playing if they got a cool card back or not?
I tell you what,
I got a cool
it
card
serves a
back. I
purpose.
can't even see the back of my card.
It serves a purpose. It's more for the other person, but here's the purpose. It does have a purpose. When you see someone that has the beta season card backs, you know right off the bat this person has put in their time, and I may want to be careful how I tread. So that does have a purpose. All right. What is the freaking League of Legends skin doing? Most of them are just freaking palette swaps. The art guy goes, I'm gonna change this from red to blue. Done.
And I also know some players that's been playing WoW and League of Legends since the damn game started, and they still suck ass. So what it's gonna say about that? Oh, just because they have a card back, oh, they're good. We gotta watch out for those guys. Well, you already know. You don't play a player. You don't play the opposite player. You play the deck. Okay, if you're playing a mage deck, you know there's a big fireball coming out. You know that this mage is going to have a freaking 2 sheeps. You know this mage is going to have a shit ton of... No, you got me started. It's your fault.
Back the car up real quick. League of Legends, you don't... In a MOBA, it's a very different dynamic. If you play a deck building game a lot and you don't get a little bit better, there's a problem. On League of Legends, it's almost due course, because what happens in League of Legends is that people get into the trap of falling into blaming their teammates. Oh, we lost because of you, you noob. Learn to play. or they say, oh, I had lag, or you had a hard counter to my character. They make so many excuses, so they never internalize what they're doing wrong, and they don't improve. And that's very common in League of Legends. Whereas in strategy games in general, people tend like more pure strategy. You can say League of Legends is a strategy game, but it's more action than strategy.
Sorta.
All right,
more of a team strategy game. But yeah, but what I'm saying though, Yogi, and this is the whole thing. All right, and I'm sorry to take up all this time, guys, but I don't get to talk like this during horseplay because everybody
we go off on crazy tangents.
I get the chat riled up. That's what I do. But dude, I understand what you're saying about the card backs. It's basically a gift that you've earned, and you do this, and this. Okay, that's fine. But you can't compare League of Legends skins to it. You can't do that because skins is just like what you said with the card backs. A card back is something that you won from Hearthstone, from winning so many games or getting to a certain rank or whatever it is for. I don't even know. I don't have one. I don't care.
You have to hit rank 20 in any ranked season. And unless you're a slacker like I was during the beta, you won't get them. So.
Okay, then my wife's got one. Then I'll look at hers.
Yes. She probably has the yellow one.
I guarantee you she's got one and she doesn't even fucking know.
Yeah, a lot of people have them and they don't activate them because it's kind of hidden in there. Fred, help me out here real quick before you have to go.
What's up?
Are prestige items a total waste of time? Do you feel insulted by them?
They have to confer prestige, and the card back does not.
Okay. I'll give him that. I'm going to agree with that sentiment. However,
like let's preface this by saying it's a limited time thing. That card back you get, other people that come after you won't ever be able to get it in any other way. So that creates more value. All right, now go, Fred.
Okay.
Go. And go.
Noted.
I hate you. Because I would have not said... Oh, you're a dick. Go ahead, Fred. I'm going to light his ass up after you're done.
You did first.
No, oh no, I got something more for you. If it's a legendary... I'm sorry, Fred, and I'm going to go outside and have a cigarette after this. I know we're still streaming. I know, I'm sorry, dude. But if it's a legendary... Okay, a skin, like, it's the same thing with League, and I'm going to bring League of Legends skins up. There's Pulsefire Ezreal, that's a legendary skin. It's cost you, okay? If it's a legendary card back... that nobody else can get, and that's because it's in the first season, or you made it to the if they do something with like a PvP environment, that we have the ranked. If you make it to the top, 1,000 in the world, you can get some cool shit, something that nobody else can get. If it's like that, of course it's worth it, dude, because then you're getting something that nobody else can get. Yes. Did I get world first on AQ40 back in Vanilla WoW? I did, and I was one of 40 people to get it. Am I excited about that shit? Fuck yeah, that's an accomplishment. If you're talking like that, then I'm out behind it 100%. I'm done. Go ahead, Fred.
Oh no, I wonder where they're going to come up with the money for this stuff. So that when I see the backs, I'm like, okay, well that's their solution, I guess. And I'm okay with it. The other thing I've noticed is it never ceases to amaze me how many gamers like stupid shit like the backings of a card. And I'm cool with that. Like if they want to, Dota proves right there that you can make a mint off of customization. And they're planning to do it with that other game. What's that MOBA that Blizzard's about to come out with?
Heroes of the Storm, which is awesome.
Uh-huh. Yeah, $70 and you too can have the Diablo set. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that is a little crazy.
No, it's not crazy. It's genius. Jesus, I wish I thought of it because it's all it is.
Yeah.
So, again, I think that's the world we have today. And what's the alternative? Candy Crush? Okay, I'll take this.
Oh, thank you. Candy Crush. If I get one more freaking invite for a Candy Crush, I swear I'm going to do a mass exodus of friends on Facebook, including some cousins and aunts.
They have to invite you so that they can get their extras or whatever.
I know. You gotta get mad at the developers for making it like that, but still.
Exactly.
I have about 1,000 reasons to hate King.
All right. Stan, Fred, I love you guys. I am going to go out to smoke. If you guys are back on here when I get back, I will definitely start talking again. But if not, I love you guys. Thanks for joining the show. Really appreciate it. Yogi, I'll see you in a little bit, bud. I'm going to get that loaded up right now.
All right, cool.
Have a good smoke.
Yeah, I'm about to go to the same place.
I smoke continuously.
I think the only non-smoker here is Fred Rojas. He's the healthiest of us.
I quit 8 years ago. No, God, it's been longer. Shit. No, it was 8 years ago. Okay, it was 8 years ago. And somebody asked me recently, they were like, isn't that just so fantastic? Right? Like, do you finally get over it and stuff like that? I was like, no, I'm still pretty sure that behind eating, sleeping, and sex, that's my fourth favorite activity. And I haven't done it in 8 years. And I was like, but I still miss it. Like, yeah.
But
I'm now at that point where I can like watch Mad Men and not care, oh man.
And an e-cig is not an alternative at all.
If you've never smoked, kids, don't touch it. It sinks its teeth for life.
It does.
It does. I've been smoking since I was 16.
There you go. So.
Yeah, Stan actually beats me. I could be a bit of a chain smoker, but we'll be doing mastermind sessions talking about all kinds of existential topics, philosophy, and random shit. And then he's lighting cigarette after cigarette. I'm like, you're killing me because I want to smoke, but I don't smoke indoors. And I have this e-cig, and I'm like, it ain't the same.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot. Like, I was at Micro Center the other day, and I was cashing out, and the kid took a puff of an e-cig, and I was like, wow, is that like, I guess it's okay. It used to be okay all across the boards. In the 70s, I could have checked out at a supermarket where someone had a cigarette in their mouth.
Yeah.
But I wasn't used to it. And an e-cigarette's not going to harm the, whatever piece of computer, whatnot I was buying. But, and I wasn't offended or anything. It was just something you're not used to seeing. It was jarring.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. We are smoking at the register again. Fantastic. And it smells like cinnamon and mint.
Yeah. So you still have the same situation where people that have very sensitive olfactory are going to be like, excuse me, sir, your vapor is bothering me.
Oh, my God. What the fuck happened to this country?
Oh, no kidding. When do we become such tight asses? So you guys right now watching or listening to the Horseplay Uncut, you're getting the full raw experience. And you know what? We're gonna bring it back more to this. What I'm gonna have to do is trim down our show notes and make it so that we have the obligatory news and our usual segments, but then one feature discussion so we can just fly off the handle and be like. Boom! Let's go off on tangents because
we're gonna be pretty hyper aggressive in pixelated pints. I can tell you because I know that Jeff guy. Plus, like again, the big thing with me is just I don't know. I think we're too bogged down in today's society thinks they can fix everyone's problems, and you know it reminds me of an old thing on a barbershop I used to go to. There was this sign up that was like, teenagers, you tired of dealing with your stupid parents? You know, quit school, get a job, you know, get your own place while you still know everything, quick, you know. And
yep.
There is no better euphemism than Facebook.
Yep, that's so
like,
true.
And again, Facebook in and of itself is not bad. It's the people who populate it. Yeah. And it's I don't know, like I said, it's the everyone gets a trophy and a 14-year-old kid has the balls to look at a company like Nintendo who's worth hundreds of billions of yen and go, "Hey guys, listen, I know how to fix it, okay? Like you guys haven't thought of this, okay? Trust me, you haven't thought of this." Yeah.
Well, you know what it is too. It's easier coming. I think we all succumb to that at some point. It's easy to look from the outside in. But I think also, like, there's clearly some things we're not privy to. But, you know, it makes a good conversation. Even though the person's not fully in the know and they're probably going to regurgitate the same ideas other people have thought of, it's a thing that's such a hot-button topic that it does get attention, whether that's good or bad.
Well, and again, you're right. There's no harm in brainstorming. But don't like and again, who I'm talking about aren't just kids. Like I read a Time magazine article where this guy had the balls to talk about, he literally said Mario Kart, the SNES version on iOS, boom, Nintendo will make billions. Really? Really? Because most people I know who have jailbroken an iOS have played Mario Kart SNES on their phone and did not care for the experience. I don't think that's quite the killer app this guy for Time Magazine thought it was going to be.
I mean, if anything, I know a lot of people have had the whole idea about bringing the first-party games to other platforms, but I think what they need is just a little more. They have the same issue Sega had, the third-party support. They need a little more variety. If they, but you know, on the same token,
but Mario is definitely a safer bet than Sonic. Yeah. Sorry to say, guys. I love Sonic too, but
yeah, it is.
Mario's the plumber over the hog. But the one that I will give everyone is it blows my mind that they don't port the Pokemon games to us. I cannot see a scenario where those don't sell like hotcakes, and they translate to touchscreen perfectly. Ask Square Enix how that works out, because they charge $17 a Final Fantasy, and every single one of those is a fantastic performer.
Yeah, and it's amazing because they go completely against the rules. They don't follow the sweet spot rules for pricing.
And they're terrible ports too. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and I've heard some of them are borderline unplayable.
Didn't stop people from buying them though.
Yeah.
And you know what? Again, I don't know why Sony is hanging on to or not Sony, Nintendo. Nintendo hangs on to the Pokemon games like Disney vaults its movies, and it just never makes any sense to me. Like it's like why? Like Red and Green were black and white games, guys. Like I don't know. But you know, for the most part, I don't even think Nintendo knows what Nintendo needs to do. But you know, some of the games were working, and Mario Kart 8, I don't care what anybody says. If you have a Wii U, I have no idea why you're not interested in that game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if people can say whatever they want about Nintendo, but one thing they always had is that their first-party games are always high quality. They are such sticklers for quality. Like, I can't think of a Nintendo game that they made that I didn't enjoy at least a little bit. Which that's,
okay, I'll give you that. But New Super Mario Brothers Wii U is trash. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there are some outliers, but they have relatively speaking, their standards for quality control are better than most.
Yeah, and it's still fun for those first few hours. It's when the problem is the game was designed for single player, which is hilarious. Like, if you ever want to better a litmus for how far, this is why I really attack traditional media sites and whatnot. If you want to know how far against the grain the average video game journalist is from the average game player, especially Wii U owner, look no farther than New Super Mario Bros. Wii U. I don't know what you're talking about, man. The tablet was great. I got to see the map. I knew where my coin was. Da, 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 da. Did you miss the part where if you want to play that with more than one person, you can't use the tablet? Oh, that wasn't in your review because you're fucking lonely. Because you live alone. Because nobody will... Yo. You know... 38 years old and you don't have a goddamn kid. Who are you to review a Nintendo product? You know, it's
yeah. I find that issue a lot. Like, it's like the whole game mechanics thing that I want to do. There's a couple of other people doing it, but they either come from a place of like being really biased because they have people people are in their pockets, or they're way too scholastic or stuffy about it, and they don't come from a simple place. Like, people actually playing the games and enjoying them. Like, I saw the Game Theory podcast. Give that a listen sometime if you haven't. Great show, but those guys, they talk so much about atheism, which is fine. That's the prerogative. But then they talk. But then they talk about freaking, all kinds of like really high level psychological terms like I could follow along with, but it's so freaking elitist. And the worst part is they talk about things they have no experience with firsthand. It's all like really theoretical stuff,
like conceptual.
Yeah, really conceptual stuff. And so they talk about roguelikes, and they're defining what a roguelike is for their purposes. And I'm like, okay, that's great that you know the history of roguelikes, and that's a great perspective, but you're not doing a historical
Have you played Rogue?
Exactly.
For starters?
Yeah, they say it's based on the game called Rogue in the 80s, and I'm like, that's great, but then they're talking about the roguelikes, and they're missing the things that really make them so much fun, and the whole point about like the fact that the challenge and the reward curves line up very well. It's like, oh, you're killing me. How can you not mention that part? That's the thing that makes it so satisfying.
Well, and again, the only reason I criticize that is the same venue who goes, we are not going to release a Titanfall review until it's been out for 2 weeks because we need to get into the nitty-gritty and really experience what the average gamer is experiencing at home. Well, okay, if you're going to take that much time, and I respect that, I think that's a good thing, how in the world did you not think to like go, hey, niece, nephew, because I'm certain one of their siblings decided to procreate since they didn't. Like, can I hang out with him for an afternoon and play Mario Kart just to see, like what that's like, or, heaven forbid, ask, again, and the game reviewer's girlfriend's probably not a good person to ask either because she's probably pretty heavily involved in gaming as well, because that's the kind of girl who's going to tolerate a person who's, like my wife, she's not a gamer per se, but she definitely plays more games than the average person. I wouldn't consider her the litmus for the general populace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And her tolerance for gaming bullshit in her house is through the roof if she's married to me, so...
I know exactly what you're saying.
We have a hamster named Master Chief, and we have wiener dogs named Jack and Daniels. Like, I mean, there's a certain type of person that marries me.
Oh, man.
So, it's just like, and so again, I think that's what really aggravates me these days. And of course, that same argument goes the flip side, right? People are like, well, yeah, but why does every game reviewer have to cater to you because you decided to have kids? Well, yeah, I guess you're right. But
and it's funny though, so few people come from that place. They don't talk about sharing games with their friends and family. It's like they're trying to make it an exclusive club, like a frat party or something. It's like, come on, it's something that we should be sharing at this point.
Well, and I get it because that lifestyle is not very conducive to it. I remember the day that I decided whether or not to enter into the professional games journalism world. I was offered a magazine job, and I was like, should I take it? And I remember to this day, like the person who I talked to, and I talked to a couple people, one who worked for EGM at the time, so EGM was still around, so if that tells you something, and the other one worked for Game Informer, and he said, you know, they were like, you know, Fred, like, you know, if this is a great opportunity, go for it if you want to, and realize it was only like it wasn't a freelance job, but it was a part-time job. So it was like, we'll throw you in the mix, publish some stuff, get you on there. Let's see if you do well. Podcasts weren't even really a thing much. And they were like, we'll get you on there. And if you work out, then you'll become full-time. And was I going to move to California? Was I going to move to the Bay Area? All for that. And I was just making my decision. And they were like, listen, if you do want family, kids, things like that, and those are going to be more important than your job, that's fine. But like so many other careers in this world, you're not going to be very successful. And so that was the day I decided I wasn't going to do it. And no matter what decision I made, it was the right decision as long as it's what I really wanted to do. But knowing that, you know, the lifestyle's not going to be conducive to that. So that's why very few of them do have kids. You know, but people do it. I mean, Vinny Caravella's got a kid, and so do you know, I think Scooter doesn't, but Terry Nguyen does, Scooter. I mean, there are those that have families, but it's got to be hard for them. And their wives have to be super women. I got to say that because you know they're watching the kid most of the time. They have no choice.
Yep. That's what I did. I just lock them up in the closet.
Well, yeah, that's what somebody asked me where my kid was, and I was like, well, you just kenneled her up next to the wiener dogs. It's fine. She's good. They'll share some water and some kibble with her. She's cool.
Just press play.
My daughter's patient.
And put it on auto loop. It's cool.
Yeah, we turn on Animal Planet, and they just stare at the screen through the cage bars. It's cool.
I mean, it's definitely a challenge. I mean, I'm always juggling a lot, but it's just that's why I love you, man. Because we gotta. I'm so glad you announced that news on the show because we must be on the same wavelength because we haven't really talked, and you're thinking about the same things that I am.
That's what Chip said too. Although I got to tell you, really, on a real quick tangent, my daughter played video games for the first time. She picked up a Saturn controller and played Gradius. And it blew me away because she's only 3 years, or she's not even 3 years old. She turns 3 in September. And she wasn't good at it or anything, but she started figuring out the directional pad and how the ship moved and started dodging bullets. That's the building blocks of a good gamer.
Oh yeah,
dude! Seriously, if you can survive bullet hell in a shmup, that's the holy grail.
I am a bullet hell player. Like if you haven't seen some of the ones I played on there, I'm not fantastic. But when I go play like Espa Galuda or Radiant Silvergun,
Ikaruga.
I have Ikaruga. I haven't played it on film yet, but
oh my gosh, yeah, Radiant Silvergun is amazing. I love what they have such variety with the weapons. Oh man.
I just love how Radiant Silvergun. Radiant Silvergun's great because the bosses get impatient. If you don't kill them fast enough, they're like, fuck you, no bonus, and they just leave the area.
Yep. I think Cinemora does that too, and some other games.
Does Cinemora do that? Oh, okay, I managed to always take the bosses out. But again, Cinemora is a lower challenge level.
It is.
In my opinion, unless you're playing arcade style. Arcade style is really hard, but...
It's more of a cinematic kind of immersive kind of shmup.
Right, and that's not a bad thing. I actually like it. It's the first shmup in a long time I've beaten without having to play it for like a month straight.
Yep.
Like, and so
that's
so there is that.
Those are lifestyle games. You gotta like get conditioned to dodging things and being able to track different things on the screen at the same time. Not getting tunnel vision.
And even though the patterns are similar, no one game is the same. Like even a cave shooter 1-over-1, just because you know Donpachi doesn't mean you can do Dodonpachi, and sure as hell doesn't help you for Death Smiles. Like you just gotta keep playing all of them, and if you can figure out how to play Otomadius, you let me know because I have no clue.
I've been eyeballing a collector's edition of Death Smiles that looked so cool, and I was like, "Ooh, it looks like a bullet hell game."
Yeah, the one with the that's the one with the faceplate and stuff and the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's like a long box.
Yeah. I wouldn't pay more than like 30 for it just because of the going rate, but it's a good package.
Dude, so tempting. Maybe I'll do a one-handed unboxing.
Do you think it's going to rival my Metal Gear Solid 4 one-handed unboxing? Did you see that?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll try.
I'm terrible at the one-handed unboxing.
but dude, seriously, I love how the shows are gonna complement each other because you're gonna approach it more from like a commentary, more of a social commentary kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and business strategy. Again, we're gonna talk about the games we're gonna play, but like there's a game that somebody emailed me about it because I have a lot of PR contacts, and I recently did like kind of the kiss of death. I told them that I think traditional game reviews are dead. I'm getting sick of writing 2,000 word game reviews that nobody reads and everybody just cares about my score. And I only rate on a 5-point level. And so like, yeah. And so I just gave up on them. I'm just like, I'm not doing them. And so I told my review copy people, I was like, you can send me games, but just know I'm going to capture it, do a quick look or impressions or beat the game and just talk over it. And maybe I'll mention it on a podcast, but you're not going to get a review. So don't send me something if you don't. And one of the most immediate responses was there was this company that they made a game and it's coming out soon. It's coming on Steam May 30th. And they said they could give it to me on the 24th because their Kickstarter people got it or something. And it's a game where you play like a native in the forest. And it's like stealth movements and trap setting. So kind of Monster Hunter-esque. And it's in a dinosaur world. And there's mid-tier and large-tier dinosaurs. And large-tier dinosaurs you can't kill, but you can't sustain off of mid-tier dinosaurs you can kill. So it's all about trapping, like in a T-Rex versus Triceratops battle, trying to figure out how to screw one over through your stealth moves and getting involved. Dude. So that once the winner wins and takes their meat, they move on and you go in and harvest the meat. And it just seems so fucking cool.
Dude, that's actually based on a mod for Warcraft 3, one of the many. Like
no kidding.
Dota and League of Legends got this kind of got the roots there. A lot of things did, but there was a game called there was a few of them, but one of them was Jurassic Park Survival, where you had to build camps.
I have. So I'm thinking of Survivor. If you've ever played that hilarious ragdoll game, but well, it looks cool. Again, I said it's either going to be something where I'm like, you're either going to love or hate that game. It looks very polarizing, but I like concepts like that, and I'm looking forward to it. And I just like playing games like that. Again, the Gone Homes, the Swappers, the Jonestown when that first came out. I just play a lot of that stuff, and I actually haven't played this yet. But have you played this? The Choose Your Own Adventure horror game Home?
I think I have a copy of it. I haven't touched it yet.
I've heard it's pretty cool. It's like 2 or 3 hours, and it's like it's like an 8-bit or 16-bit graphics. But it's a really crazy horror game that's like choose your own adventure. Like you pick. It's kind of like Alone in the Dark without being hard, and it really messes with your head. Is
that the one where it's side scrolling?
Yes.
Dude, that game is good.
I've never played it, so I was gonna live stream it and just play through it one night.
Dude, yeah. I got stuck in that game in a big way, but I was still enjoying exploring.
Oh, is it like a puzzle game?
It's got like some puzzle elements, but it's definitely like an ambiance kind of thing where the environment itself just messes with you. Like you're just constantly paranoid. Like you hear things, and oh my god, there's little like Easter eggs and stuff. They did a really good job. Like it's amazing the stuff they communicate in that kind of like 8-bit sprite style art.
Yeah, I've talked to the developer. He's really got an open mind about stuff, and he's doing some cool stuff. But yeah, I've always wanted to play through Home, so I need to eventually play that. But again, my 2 playlist is ridiculous, and I always end up trying to pick the new game and end up playing something like Resident Evil 4.
What are you doing for Retro Friday?
This week it's Yakuza because that's our new game club game, the original PS2 game.
Gotcha. Yeah. Oh, Foreign Garden must be busting a nut right now.
He is. It's his idea, so we're doing that one. And then, did you hear what our next one is for June?
Oh, I was just listening today too, and oh my god, what was it? And I was like pretty excited.
Capcom.
Oh my gosh, what was it?
Very similar to what we were just talking about.
Was it Dino Crisis?
Yeah, Dino Crisis. That's our June game. So
there was another one that you guys were teasing.
Heroes of Sparta is July.
I could have sworn there was something else that you mentioned that was pretty obscure. It was something obscure. Oh, BioShock you mentioned, but there was something else you mentioned that was obscure, and it just happened to be one of those obscure games that I played.
Oh. Well,
There's a while back. You were I think you were just kind of spitballing just to see how people would respond to the certain ideas.
I mean, now I know we're doing Fatal Frame for October, but I'm holding that one till October.
Fatal Frame is cool too.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got like a lot of ongoing stuff, but yeah, I need to get through Resident Evil 4, and then I need to figure out if I really want to try Resident Evil 6 again.
I was enjoying the shit out of watching you play. There's so many parts when you were playing. It's just I couldn't hear you. I should have said in the chat. By the way, if you're talking, I can't hear you.
I know. And then my new mic was too low, so I think I'm going to use my podcast mic and see if that picks up. Because I'm a gamer who plays standing up, and I've got a microphone stand, so I can just sit there with the mic in front of me while I play.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, I stand for like 4 hours on end, and then suddenly I stop gaming and realize I have knees. It's horrible.
Dude, there's so many parts you were playing that I was like shitting bricks. Cause I'm like, there's a guy right behind you. Turn around.
Well, because I'm doing the wolf. That was a great scene where I'm doing the wolves jumping out through the hedge maze. That's such a fantastically designed area. That game was so damn smart.
I love the parts where you just completely say fuck it and ignore the girl that's traveling with you. What's her name? Amy? Or if I remember what her name
Ashley.
Ashley. Yeah. And then like she gets taken away, and then you turn around, and I just see. I don't know if you're just trying to troll people watching, but you're just watching her getting taken away. You're like, okay, taking her away. She's annoying because she's just doing that annoying crying thing.
Knowing how far she can go before you can take her out. And there was this one time that was pretty good because like I aimed in the wrong area, and just because I have penetration on both my rifle and my pistol, so I shot through the bad guy and into her head, and that was pretty good. That game is so fantastic.
Dude, oh man, it's so good, and the way she cries, like, help me, help,
Leon, help. Yeah. And I'm getting farther in that game. I'm getting to the end. I've now, because I streamed for a long time the other night.
Yeah, it was like a Friday night, because I remember I was packing up to go on a Florida
and I did it again last night.
Oh,
last night I did like 3 hours or something, and I got to chapter 4-3 or something.
You're remembering to save the videos forever, right?
Well, depends. The one where I tested the mic, I deleted it. The other one I saved for.
Oh, come on.
1 minute. You could barely hear me.
Oh, okay.
But it was the hedge maze.
Oh, cool,
which is what I was talking about, the wolf hedge maze.
I'll bookmark them and stuff.
Yeah, I need to, like I said, I need to figure it out, and I'll get better at it. But again, these are tests for the big show. And then I think the next game I was going to play was War for Cybertron is what I think I'm going to play next. Never played a Transformers game.
What are you doing over there, Stan?
Me? Nothing.
What is that? It sounds like you're playing with a bucket. What was I gonna say?
Crazy.
How are you liking OBS?
OBS?
No, Fred. Are you using OBS or XSplit right now?
Oh, I'm actually my graphics card has a stream built into it. I have a 770.
Oh yeah, the GTX.
So I just push Alt F7 and I'm good.
Yeah. That is very handy.
It's a very small indicator. It's a little box in the corner. You don't even know if it's streaming or not. And it depends on the game. You know, obviously, like Resident Evil's not too taxing on my system, but Thief, yeah, that's not solid streaming.
It was a little choppy, but it wasn't like breaking the experience at all.
Was Resident Evil a little choppy?
Yeah, it had like a few freezing frames, but I mean, it's kind of inevitable. You gotta like to really stream perfectly. Other than having like bleeding edge, super expensive computer, you have to like have everything closed in the background, like even like services and things you don't need. I do. The PC's only used for gaming. But when I go back and watch the video, it's smooth. So I don't know if it was just at the moment, like Twitch trying to manage everything. I'm cool with that. If I export the video and it's smooth, that's fine with me. But I mean, there are ones where like I export the video afterwards and it's hiccupy, and it's just when it's something like Thief had such simple system requirements, like non-specific. I had no idea it was going to be a power-hungry game. Lazy programming.
Yeah, it's not optimized at all.
Yeah.
And again, that's the biggest reason I don't have a lot of the Resident Evil games on PC. Resident Evil 5 and 6 were terribly optimized. I have Revelations and 4 though, because those were very well optimized. So it just depends. But my Steam collection's so crazy, and I still prefer PC gaming over everything else. I don't know. Yeah, and I don't like keyboard and mouse. Like but I love my PC. It's just so smooth and easy. streaming's a click away, and it plays full screen on my TV. So
that's kind of where I'm at too. That I just it's just so convenient, and I have my entire library a click away, and so much easier.
Well, I got old stuff that works with Shadow Play too, like the original Tomb Raider. I was thinking about playing through the old school Tomb Raider 1.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, or at least playing the Anniversary Edition.
Well, sorry, yeah, it is Anniversary Edition. I have the original, but the Anniversary Edition just looks so much better. Why not?
Yeah, and it's the same game.
And now that I think about it, when Obi asked about gaming moments, do you remember fucking walking out and I remember doing this on the game when we did the Tomb Raider episode, where you walk out into that open area and the T-Rex comes out?
Yep.
Everything I love in gaming has to do with a dinosaur in one way or the other.
Yep. Yep. Unfortunately, that only gives you that oh fuck moment once, but it's still amazing. It sticks with you forever.
Yeah, you know what game keeps them coming though? Dino Crisis. There's a million scenes where you walk past the wrong window and just get eaten, and you're like, okay, don't do that.
The original Resident Evil was like that too, with the jump scares, and they kind of deviated from that. Remember all the stupid dogs that would jump out of windows?
There's the dogs in the windows, but remember the second time you go through there are the tarantulas in there, so it like works twice.
Yep.
And I still think the scariest thing in those games is when the hunters come into the house.
Yep.
Because that enemy is a dick, and it's designed to be that way, because the first hunter comes in. Do you remember you're like walking in, and you see the CGI animation of the hunter jumping out of the water, and it runs through the garden house, and then it walks in, and you're kind of in that cathedral-like hallway, and you hear it walk slowly. It's like, blah, 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 and it starts running at you. And if you decide to fight it right there in that hallway, it does the jump slash and takes your head off, and you die. And it's like,
oh, man.
Okay, yeah, that's not the best way to handle him right off the bat.
You know what? I think I'm going to try to play the original Alone in the Dark later on today. Or
Alone in the Dark? You are a masochist.
It's just such a spooky game. It's so good. I mean, yeah, the graphics are definitely dated, and the controls are clunky on the original Resident Evil, which is saying something, but it's just such a good game. Like the environments and the storytelling, that it tells you story without forcing it down your throat, which game developers should borrow a page from that playbook. Jeez.
Oh yeah, and it did it in '92. Like it's basically a it's a Lovecraft story.
Yes. Yep. H.P. Lovecraft.
But I've got the original Alone in the Dark on the 3DO. I buy those console versions because then I don't have to worry about trying to get a PC to run it.
Yeah, and I think the 3DO was probably one of the highest fidelity versions of it.
Imagine that. It's like when I'm playing Jaguar version of Doom and they're like, this is the most enhanced version of Doom that came out. So weird that the PC version's not the Elite version. It's just...
I fought so hard not to mention Doom as one of my defining moments, but that definitely is one of the biggest ones.
Do you know about the big project I'm doing right now?
What's that?
I have 18 console versions of Doom, and I'm comparing them all.
Oh, yes. That's
it's taking me so long.
I tip my hat off to you. That's a huge undertaking.
I thought collecting all the games was going to be the hard part. Turns out that's the easier part. Problem is, I don't want to film the same first level over and over and over again on that video, or you guys are going to get bored. So I actually have to play each version for like a couple hours. And if you've ever played the Staggery Saturn version, it's not a good version of Doom.
I played that. I played the 32X version.
The terrible version. 32X is bad. The 3DO version's abhorrent. It's running at like 10 frames.
For me,
it doesn't have enough RAM.
For me, the 32X version was just cool because I was doing PC gaming for such a long time that I thought it was neat just to see those kind of games finally hit the console. And I said to myself, maybe in about 10 years, the consoles will finally figure out that there's a thing called online multiplayer, and they'll jump on board. And sure enough, they finally figured it out.
Dreamcast.
Yep.
Quake 2. Dude. Quake 3 Arena.
Phantasy Star Online, which had several
PSO.
Iterations. Yeah, PSO.
Your mom picks up the phone and you get disconnected, and then your character's lost in the annals of history.
Man.
The server can't find your character. What? Oh, I had to lose. I only lost one character, and I never touched that game again. Never.
That game was ahead of its time just because of the combo system. You know?
Oh, there was a ton of things that were ahead of their time on PSO, but that whole console was ahead of its time. In fact, I need to go back and replay Typing of the Dead. I'm one of the rare few who has that game and the keyboard.
Dude, I love it on the PC. I took your recommendation. I got it when it went on sale. I played it. It was one of my best streams. I had people in the chat cracking up at all the filthy stuff it was saying because I had the DLC. And then I put it up on YouTube. So actually, no, I haven't put it on YouTube yet because I might have to re-record it because it has music in it, and you know how Google is about that. Oh, copyrighted material.
Actually, I'm good. If you do if you don't go for ad revenue, they just let everything be in there.
See, I'm not going. I don't have my thing. I don't have that my personal.
They've
channel
dinked you, or have you just been careful?
They just gave me a warning. They gave me a
warning.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, they like the one video. They said this will not be played in certain countries because it has copyrighted material from.
That just means it's only allowed for America. I got that on because I have the most blatant copyright infringement on mine. I did the make your own music videos, and I have the Marky Mark and the NXS and all that stuff, and I got dinged only on mobile because YouTube is trying to stop people from using YouTube as a cell phone jukebox. And so they said it'll play on the regular one, but it won't play on the and so that's just little customization stuff. That's not like the copyright warnings. And again, that particular video and then the Star Wars one, which has all the Star Wars music and everything, they didn't dink me on either of those. And so I think I'm safe.
I also
did a ton of Nintendo stuff.
We got a copyright warning on the uncut version of HorsePLAY when we played. It was a 3-hour show. Maybe more. It was longer than that. We went long, and then we played a 3-minute trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy because people in the chat actually had not seen it. So we said, "Oh yeah, we'll just play it right in the stream, so you can just watch it right now." And that was a copyright infringement. They said this is the third-party copyrighted material. I was like, "You motherfuckers."
Well, yeah, but if they just alert you, because like when I used to, when I went to E3, they gave me a bunch of things that I could put on my feed, to help cross promote, and they gave me a bunch of warnings for it. But they said if you've been given permission to do it, you're good. And I guess in your regard, you hadn't been, but I'd be hard pressed to see Marvel caring. But maybe I'm wrong. For mine, since they were all assets that they told me to distribute, then I figured I was safe, but. Who knows? I've never taken them down, but I never was generating revenue on them. But I think that's the biggest part. If you haven't generated any revenue, there's really no copyright case against you. But I guess if they really wanted to, they could pull it down. But I don't know. It gets interesting. I still don't, I still don't understand why you guys putting that on your show is just increasing the impressions. I don't understand what that
exactly. I mean, if
it's
they
not
had
well, for the end of the show, we're gonna play the wizard here.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big difference. I mean, it's a piece of something. It's a piece of a greater work. I mean, and let's be honest.
Well, it's
if they hired
a trailer is a promotional material.
Exactly, it's public consumption anyway.
Promotion has never been something you didn't want the most number of eyes to see.
Exactly, and let's be honest, if they hired a PR firm, they would be paying tons of money. I'm doing it for free and giving them a little extra audience in my humble little, circle of friends.
Yep.
And then Stan, of course, Stan's the hardest working man in social media. If you want a masterful promoter, he just works so hard. He's always sending me emails like, we need to do this. This will be our social media strategy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, you're hardcore. I don't think he sleeps. I honestly think that Stan is an android.
Well, unfortunately, Android Stan and Yogi, and I don't think he's back. But if if Obi's back, I think I'm gonna have to bow out. I have to be up in 4 hours.
No, I know, bro. I really appreciate he stood this long. It was awesome, man.
Oh, no, I get to talk and stay on all night. Yeah, absolutely.
But like I said, I love the concept with the new show, and I think it'll be cool because it's gonna complement what we're doing with the bit by bit gaming and talking about game mechanics and everything.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll have to cross pollinate on that.
Yeah, if you guys are interested, feel free to come out for the for the soft launch this Monday. Again, the easiest way is just youtube.com/pixelated pints. The event's already sitting there waiting to go. So, and I think we're just gonna probably. I think there's a live YouTube chat while that's running, and we'll do it that way. If not, I'll figure out Google Hangouts. How hard can it be?
I will give you a word of warning. As someone has done lots of webinars and different events on Google Hangouts, it could be temperamental. So just be ready to pull out your hair. You still have yours, so that might be an issue.
Yeah. Well, no, it's cool. Again, the biggest thing for me is I already know not to invite anyone who's not going to be on the show. So I've got that going for me already.
Yeah,
but that's why we're doing a soft launch. We're doing 3 weeks of soft launch so we can work out the kinks.
Yeah.
And I'm going to record it with my own software as a traditional podcast at the same time. So nothing's really going to be lost. The camera's just so that me and Hefe have a lot of crazy facial expressions. So we really play off each other's crazy faces. And we do a trivia thing at the end where we do shots when we get it wrong. And they're designed so that we can't ever get it right. So that's a fun little joke thing. So you have to get those facial impressions when we do. I haven't done shots in over 6 months, so this will be interesting.
Oh man, awesome! I'm gonna have to stock up on some alcohol, some adult beverages.
I know, it's like everybody's like, "Man, do you drink that much?" And I was like, "No, but I do tend to drink when I'm doing new podcasts, or if I'm a guest or something. It just eases you into it." But all right, boys. Well, I will talk to you later. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, brother. Okay. Let's keep masterminding. There's a lot of opportunity for collaboration. I'm super stoked for you, man.
Hey, man, I'll do it till I die.
Hell yeah.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Good night, brother.
Bye.
So, man, how you doing?
Good. You see, we've been freaking super busy, man.
Yeah.
Oh man. So you excited about the stuff going on?
I do. I am. I like it. Sorry, all right, I had to concede.
So
I cannot talk and play Hearthstone at the same time.
I'm getting to the same point, dude. I used to be able to multitask so much, but now I'm finding that like I have to be more, I guess you could say, compartmentalized.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm doing a bunch of things half-ass, and then I just hit a roadblock, and I'm like, what was I doing again?
Yeah.
That's bad. We're getting old, man. We're getting old.
We're getting old, yeah. That's true.
But have you looked at the notes we have for the new show? We have the Geeky Antics folder.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so just check that out when you get a chance, because we have a lot of topics, so you can kind of start priming the pump.
Okay.
I might just say F it and just start recording this weekend if I can get some of the artwork done.
Uh-huh.
I want to have everything ready. Have the iTunes feed, the Stitcher feed ready, at least submitted.
Uh-huh.
The feed burner. It's gonna be plugged into geekyantics.net, so I'm not gonna set up another site for it. Everything's gonna be kind of merged into that funnel. And then I'm thinking I'm just gonna stick with pre-recorded. Though it would be kind of cool to do it live for at least some of the episodes, so we can have a video component with it as well. So, I'm open to suggestions. So check it out and look at what we have. We have a lot of topics that I know you'll go crazy about. Because some of the stuff talks about MMOs. Are they a dying game, or are they still viable?
How can they be dying?
I mean, people are, just because a lot of people are making them doesn't mean that it's the right thing to jump on right now.
Look. The problem is that, okay, so World of Warcraft.
You gotta save it for the podcast. You're gonna say something really awesome, and then we won't capture it.
All right.
We're gonna go deep on it, bro.
Send me the link.
Yeah, let me get it for you.
Email me the link. Email it to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna email it to you, or just how about I put it on a Skype?
Okay.
That way you can look at it right now.
All right.
It's this one right here. You should have full access to the folder too, so. But yeah, for those of you who are still listening to the uncut version of HorsePLAY, we're just shooting the shit, catching up, brainstorming, and you get a little preview about you get a little preview into what we're gonna be doing on geekyantics.net. A lot of new shows coming. Obi's doing like a little talk show, more manly show on Sunday mornings for those that actually get up early on Sunday mornings. I'm not one of those people. That's my day of rest. I observe the Sabbath. No, I'm just kidding. But hey, Stan, do you think we're not having enough fun on HorsePLAY? Come on, we're still having fun and being goofy, right? I just feel like we shouldn't have to force it.
Are we forcing it? We're not forcing it.
Yeah, but we're still doing.
Maybe we're going too deep for some people.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think people.
But we're having fun. That's the problem. Maybe that's the problem.
What's the problem?
Because we're talking about things we want to talk about.
Oh yeah. Well, what the thing you said about you're doing more community involvement. I'm gonna get more regimented about getting the show notes done earlier in the week than getting the blog post. I mean, I've done it before, but this week was just one of those weeks where I just had so many things going on between.
I was just thinking, you have a half dozen supporters that tune in every week, and they care about what we're saying. So if you give them a chance to think about it, maybe they'll be able to call in or at least contribute more in chat because they've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, it's also nice when we do the gonzos. That's kind of the spirit we want to communicate. It's very gonzo. Like we have a script and talking points.
Right.
I ad-lib a lot more, but see, Obi cannot ad-lib. He gets so frustrated when we just go off the cuff,
Mm-hmm.
He needs to have that structure. It's the military in him.
Ah.
Me, I like just going off the beaten path,
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of throwing some curveball. I think it makes for good radio and good video too. But yeah, that's the one we'll do. Try to get the show notes up and maybe not necessarily the whole show notes, just like some of the main topics we're thinking about talking about. But a lot of times, right before the show starts, we change our mood changes and we're like, let's talk about this today.
Right.
So that's part of it too. So it does have a very fresh kind of gonzo approach to it, very Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah. How many people can you get into the Skype call?
I forgot what the limit is. I think it's on par with Google Hangout, except Google Hangout you can keep adding people, but then it starts becoming bloated,
right.
And you can only have 10 people on video on Google Hangout. That's the difference. And the rest just become chat participants. Google Hangout also has that cool little Q&A thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things I want to do with the new show is kind of have special episodes where it's interactive, but then most of it's going to be pre-recorded, so we can go deep on discussions.
Right.
We definitely want to have the fun episode where we involve the community and get their feedback, especially when it's opinion pieces.
Right.
Talking about the state of the gaming industry or how we feel about MMOs and what the current gaming trends are, what kind of games we're seeing a lot of, or what we're going to see more of. Right now we're seeing some more survival horror games, and we're seeing more MMOs for some strange reason. MOBAs and TCGs are on the rise. And of course,
mm-hmm.
There's always going to be shooters because that's the safe bet. But I think as far as indies goes, we're seeing a lot more risk-taking too, so a lot of interesting things going on. So much to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So what deck? What's that?
I'm checking out your document. So what are you saying? You want to talk about Hearthstone?
Oh yeah, just real quick. I'm about to go for a smoke myself. I'm kind of fiending, but this e-cig is not cutting it. But what's the main class you're playing right now?
I'm playing the mage.
Really? And you have a good success rate with it?
So I'm winning. I can say an average of 1 out of 3.
That's respectable. That's really good.
Until I get to the higher ranks,
Oh, you're doing strictly ranked?
So I'm playing strictly ranked plays, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So, but when I get into, I don't know, they changed the ranking system a bit. So now, so now you're going down. Well, you were before, I guess. But so 20 is where
You
you
don't
can't get.
lose.
Yeah, you don't go. But if I get to about 18, it gets pretty hard.
Yeah. Mages is really hard.
And it's so hard to keep. I mean, I've hit, it's really hard to keep a wins in there.
Are you running Pyroblast in the deck?
Yeah, I am.
Do you have Kirin Tor Mage?
I don't have. No, I don't have the mage.
That's the
but
one that gives you a free secret play for that turn that you play her, get her out.
Right. I have the other guy that gives the fireballs.
Oh, Ragnaros.
Yeah. So, but I know it's it comes down a lot to. I find I know, and that's probably why I'm a sucky player still. For me, it's the luck of the shuffle.
Well, the thing is, when is it meant to be a late game deck? And if so, what's your mulligan strategy? Because that's the big thing. Like, you can mitigate the random aspect if you mulligan the right way, but you have to understand what you're trying to really go for. And sometimes you have to switch it up depending on what kind of player you're playing against. Like, if you see a hunter or a warlock, chances are they're going to be aggressive.
With ranked play, I don't know who I'm going to play. I'm going to play a hunter, or am I going to play a shaman? Am I going to play a druid, or am I going to play a pally? I have no idea in ranked play because it's just totally random.
Yeah, but once you're in the match,
But you can't change your deck once you're in the match.
But you could change your initial hand. That initial hand could change everything.
Sometimes.
Like for example, if let's say I'm playing a rogue, which is right now is one of my worst classes, relatively speaking, but supposedly it's one of the best classes now because it's coming back up.
I can't play rogue.
Rogue is hard. Rogue is hard.
No, what's up with that? No, I cannot play it. It does not allow me to play rogue right now.
But you played against all the classes, right?
So that's a bug.
Huh.
I don't know. I guess I should complain. So whenever I try to play rogue,
are you sure you have a full deck? You might not have a full deck. That's why it's showing an X over it, right?
Yeah, it's showing an X over it.
Because you're in the custom deck view, and if you don't have the minimum, you have to have 30 cards exactly. Then I won't let you play that deck. That's what's going on. Yeah, that happens sometimes.
All right, so
I would not recommend Rogue, but if you might be good with her. But see, this is the thing. Let's say I'm playing a Rogue deck. She's got this thing called the Fan of Knives, right?
Right.
And it just does a meager 1 damage to everything on the board. It's worthless if you're playing against like a druid or a priest because they usually have big monsters or ways to heal. But if you're playing against someone that's likely going to run murlocs or creatures with a lot of attack but no real HP, like a hunter,
right,
then suddenly that's something you want to keep in your hand. Because if you mulligan it, chances are it could bottom deck and you may not get it when you really need it.
Right.
You might want things with charge. You may want things that when you play them on the board, they do damage to something on the board. Mm-hmm. It's that initial hand is a big thing. That goes for any deck building game
because it starts the board management. I don't want to say board control, but yeah, I mean, if you don't have anything going in the first 3 rounds, you're in big shit.
Not necessarily, because sometimes I just elect to just take damage and hold on to what I have, so I could do the sweet combo.
See, I have no problem with taking damage. I mean, I think, and that was the single most improvement to my game is. I'm not at all concerned with the first 10 points of damage. It just doesn't faze me. I mean, if I can build my strategy And that was a big help to my game because,
Yeah.
you know, I was like upset about losing 3 or 4 points and I get frustrated. But now, no, I can actually, they can take me down to 10 and I'm okay. You know,
Unless you're a warlock, then it's a little painful because every time you use the life tap, you're like, ooh.
right. I don't play the warlock, so.
Yeah, that's the only exception.
So
But
I've been playing mostly the mage and sometimes the priest. And I think I want to, probably I'll start doing the druid more. Don't think I like the shaman. But I mean, I've tried them all except for the rogue.
you might like the shaman. The shaman's fun, but then again, you like to have more predictability and control, and the shaman has a lot of randomness to it.
Yeah, it does.
It could work against you or for you, but that's what makes it fun for me.
Uh-huh.
Druid, I think you'll love because the druid has a lot of versatility, and they're gonna buff him up very soon. So he's gonna have. I know a lot of people were knocking the top tier player were knocking the priest because he doesn't really have good board control or removal, if you want to say that. But I think he has plenty of answers. And
Well, he doesn't have board control if you can't get some good cards in the beginning.
You see, it depends because the way I play the priest, I don't know if I'm doing something different, but I always feel like I have a good hand most of the time, unless I mess up. You know,
I hear you.
if I get too eager,
See, that's what I think the mage is very forgiving in terms of messing up. You're allowed to make 2 mistakes.
Yeah.
I would say. Because as long as you have the board clearing cards,
Yeah.
you know, you can recover.
Yeah.
If I don't get a board clearing card, then I'm in big shit. Because that means, you know, I should have been paying attention the whole time.
Well, see, that's why you might like Shaman because Shaman has Hex, which is comparable to
Right.
Sheep. You know,
To the sheep thing. Yeah. More.
In some ways, Hex is better than Sheep because a Sheep you might make the mistake of leaving it on the board because like, oh, it's just a 1/1, but then someone might buff it,
right,
finish you off, or they could do all kind of sneaky things with it. So Shaman has a good thing.
I don't know. Usually, like the only real problem I usually run into with the mage is what is it? The druid.
Yeah.
The priest is the easiest for me to kill with the mage.
Are you running an auctioneer with your mage?
No.
That's one I would recommend because you usually.
I have
Well, I'm just saying with the
dragons.
well, with mage you're usually going spell heavy.
Right, right.
So with the auctioneer, if he's left out and you cast a spell, you get free card draw. So it's a 2-for-1 play.
Right, right.
Sometimes more. So I like the auctioneer a lot, especially if you don't have card draw built into your deck.
Right.
It's a good way to get a solid monster out. He's a 5-cost 4/4, so he's solid. But then he has a built-in card draw. You know. And then if you want to just protect them a little bit, you could always use like mirror image and get the two taunts, cheap taunts out there.
Right.
Which only helps if you're playing against someone that doesn't have like spells that do removal. If they're just using their minions to do removal.
Right, right. If they're using their minions, yeah, the mirror image is great.
Yeah.
Because it buys you some time.
It does. And there's little sneaky things you could do with the mirror image, like buff the mirror image, the taunts up. Buy yourself more time, maybe get a little quick damage out.
With the Defender of Argus, yeah.
Oh yeah, Defender of Argus is good.
He's a nice little trick.
Yeah. Pesky, and you might force someone to use their good spells to remove everything, and then they won't have that later.
Exactly.
See, that's what I do with the priest. I just make it so that I have threats pretty much every turn, and
Uh-huh.
people start burning the removal, their board control options, and then by the time I get my real play out, they just have nothing for me.
Man, we gotta play 3 rounds, dude.
Huh?
Let's play.
Yeah, I'm down. Definitely. I'm
Yeah.
actually kind of wired. I'm gonna get some more coffee, grab a smoke. I'm gonna stop the recording here. Everyone that stood this long,
Yeah.
we appreciate you. That's
Hey,
that's
man.
a feat. It's wow. It's been like
Thanks
almost
for
4
hanging.
hours. Yeah, Stan. You want to say? You have any closing thoughts?
No, that's it. This has been cool.
Word. Yeah, it was a really good chat. We ran the full gamut tonight. I mean, still came back to Hearthstone. We've been kind of obsessed with Hearthstone lately. But it's,
Yeah.
like I said, it's the least common denominator. It's a game I can recommend to everyone with full confidence and know that they could play it on pretty much any device of their choice, except for Android, which they'll fix soon. And I just love this. I love their design philosophy. I love the game. The community's
Set
great.
the card backs, man. Okay, so I'm gonna have my say. All right, you have those really cute little graphics on the 4 corners of your game board, and okay, they're cute, but it's a waste of space. It's a waste of meaning. So give us something that's interesting. Give us a place to show our badges on each side of the board.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a good idea.
that's
Or
a
like a
It's a
custom.
$1 million idea because so you were a beta player, have a special badge for that. You're a legendary player for a season, have that badge there. Make those icons and don't make us pay for them. They're rewards, If you want to have say on the right side you can have your badges of honor and on the left side okay, you want to have pay for stuff, have pay for stuff. I don't know what, I can't imagine it right now, but I'm sure we can figure it out. What kind of icons or whatever on the left side. Have some animations and illustrations because this is a computer game. This is not physical cards. And they're stuck. Their brains are stuck that this is a physical card game. And that's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm right. I'm right.
I mean, here's the thing. I realize why the card back I think is a quick opportunity for the hardcore players. It's satisfying. And the reason they haven't done more in terms of rewards and things that give you feedback systems to make you have a sense of progression beyond ranking up your guys and getting the gold cards, the basic cards, and all that stuff. I think the reason they haven't pursued that fully is because they want to focus on the core things right now. And they're working on the stuff. I mean, we got K.I.S.S. Once K.I.S.S. Rammus comes out and the Android version comes out and everything's stable, I know for a fact they're going to work on things like structured play, spectator mode. That's another one they're going to definitely implement. Those are like the big three. Spectator mode, the K.I.S.S. Rammus, which is going to be like a month-long event, from what I understand. And then the Android version. Those are the big three. And once they could shift the resources off of development for those things and supporting those things, I'm very confident they're going to do something cool. Because I agree. They're going to do something with those boards, maybe make more boards. And I think they might make cosmetic or decorative items that you could display on the board so the player can see. The only problem with that is that the board, the way it works right now, is everybody sees the board the same way. You don't see it from a different perspective depending on whether you're player 1 or player 2. It always seats you in the same place and you always see the board from the same vantage point.
Right.
So if they, it limits some of the things you can do with that.
Why?
I'm just saying, for like my what I wanted to do is like be able to put decorative items down on the board. And I guess you could do it, and then it just shows it from the other player's perspective for them. I think it's still doable, but there's some things some logistics that have to consider there.
I don't know. I just need a graphic designer to help me work it out, and then we're gonna give it to them and tell them to implement it.
The problem with hiring the problem with hiring a graphic designer is they won't understand the impact to game performance and load times and all that kind of stuff.
Don't give me that shit.
No.
I love you, man, but you know, we're talking about big companies. We're not talking about little garage dudes.
I know.
So they can look. I was the biggest bitch to play them about Marvel Avengers Alliance, and the funny thing is a year after I stopped playing, they've implemented almost everything that I told them to. Not in the exact way that I said, but every time I gave them a proposal, I showed them the graphics, and I was like, this does not cost you money or time because I am a software developer and I understand this. I mean, I know the big problem is it's always project manager decision, and that's always the holdup.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But like I said, I'm confident from all the developer interviews, everything I've gotten to that Blizzard has told me, everything I've seen, I'm very confident with what they're doing right now.
Well, I think that, I see the single gameplay as a copy of Marvel Avengers Alliance thing, and that's a great idea. And that's kind of what kept Marvel Avengers Alliance going, is because, it's discouraging to.
Well, speaking of which, I'm surprised that you haven't gotten into Marvel Puzzle Quest.
I tried it after the last HorsePLAY. I did. I tried it.
Not a big fan.
I don't know, man.
It's the match 3 puzzle game.
It's a girls' game, dude.
No, it's so not. It's
a girls' game.
It's a thinking person's game. Whether you're
Candy Crush.
Guy. No, it's so much.
Crush,
dude, it's so much deeper. There's actually
yes,
combos and strategies to it.
It's deeper. It is. I agree. It's deeper. It's complex. It's sophisticated. It is the tomboy. It is a game for tomboys.
Thanks. No, there's so many layers of depth to that game, dude.
There is. I don't disagree. It's amazingly complex. But don't make me play around with little colored things and put them in patterns and rows.
I mean, as someone
that bugs me.
As someone that doesn't get tired of TCGs, yeah, it would be cool if it was a TCG format. But I'm just fine. I actually like this match 3 game.
Mm-hmm.
And I know those are a dime a dozen, but you can't play this like you play Candy Crush. You can't just go around
no, you can't. You can't. I agree.
Trust me, like, I didn't think I would get as hooked on it, and I played it very casually, and then at one point I found myself just playing it in marathon runs, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm hooked on this freaking game.
You just have to keep reminding me to play it.
Well, I mean, the fact that it is a puzzle game makes it a little easier to play when you're a little distracted or busy doing other things.
Yeah, I can see that, sitting at the doctor's office.
Now you're just being a wise ass. Doing the laundry. Cutting your toenails and playing Marvel Puzzle Quest.
Waiting in line at Starbucks.
Yeah. You're a bastard. Well, I hope that you come around. It'd be cool to be able to gift you stuff, even if you play casually. And then we could talk shop about that, too.
Alright, I'll play casually just for you.
Though I'm happy that we're playing Hearthstone together. And we'll do more of that. And eventually we'll do League of Legends together as well.
I don't know if I'm going to be good at that.
It's tough. It's tough.
Because it's, you know, it's kind of like...
I hope you haven't been playing it without me.
It's built like the... I don't know, to me it feels like a shooter. There's a lot of movement.
Yeah.
It's targeting.
See, that's exactly what we're talking about.
I've never been good at that.
See, yeah, that's the thing that we were just talking about on the show, is that it could be considered a strategy game, but most people play it as an action game.
Right.
And that's an opportunity. That's more with the way players are conditioned. They're in that uber competitive thing. Everything needs to be hyper aggressive, twitch, high twitch, lots of fully engaged action, kind of just brainless killing and, grunting and scratching of the genitals kind of thing going on. And you could play it like that, but it's definitely better. It shines more when you get into the strategy of it and you see the opportunities to work as a team and
you're gonna have to share that to me, because I think that's it. Is that I'm very into strategy.
Oh, well, we're in the same boat, bro. I like thinking games.
I'm really not good at fast action.
It's actually
my brain is not that fast.
To be honest, as far as MOBAs go, it's one of the slower paced ones. And that could be a good thing and a bad thing. Because a lot of times all you're doing is watching your minions fight, your creeps fight, and then waiting for a good opportunity to make a move.
Right.
While you're just getting little quick hits here and there to get some gold so you could buy some fat loot, Get some epic loot, epic gear. But it could get intense. Like, it also depends on the character, because there's some characters where when you play them, it feels a lot more like a shooter because there's skill shots involved.
Right.
And you're basically sniping people. But there's other ones where it's less of that micromanagement and more about the strategic brain and the tactics of it. I think you'll love that aspect of it.
All right. Well, we'll have to find time to play that.
Yeah, and that's also one of the main games we revisit a lot on HorsePLAY. So that's a little plug-in. We were trying to sign off here, guys, but yeah. So there you have it. So this is YogiZilla, a.k.a. Yomar Lopez, and my buddy over there, my good friend, and my pain in the ass when it comes to debating Hearthstone, Stan Faryna. I'm sorry, Obi kept butchering your name. He's bad about that.
Ferrari. I wanted to say Ferrari.
Yeah, he called you Ferrari. He called you farce.
I did not.
Oh, look at that.
I said Faryna. Sorry, that's the closest I got it. I didn't say nothing but no Ferrari. I said you have a midlife crisis car in that picture, so I figured you were old, just like Yogi.
Dude, that was my I'm getting a divorce car.
Oh. Is that the one she took after you got to drive it a couple days, or?
No, that's the one I get to keep because it's here in the U.S. and not in Europe.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, Obi calls me Obi sometimes.
No, I call him Obizilla. Like you guys got to check it out, Obizilla. I mean, Yogi, he did it again.
Yeah, apparently we had a baby in a former life.
Wait, what?
That's a dead.
Actually, we were just signing off.
I don't know, you fool.
Thank you for tuning into Psychic Hotline.
There you go. My name is Cleo. That's my alter ego.
Don't do that, man. Don't do that. Not Cleo.
But yeah, Obi, you just caught me that we're signing off, and I was about to do my cigarette break, and then I think Stan and I are gonna play some Hearthstone to end the night off.
Sounds good.
Word.
Might join in and play against one of you.
Hey, I'd like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Would you like that, Stan?
Yes.
I wish there was spectator mode so I could watch. I'll stream that. Oh, dude, that'd be so. I can't wait for spectator mode because I'll just watch other people play Hearthstone, and I'll be like a backseat gamer. Be like, oh, you idiot! No, you should have done that. Oh no. Oh.
Hey, you know that some of those girls that are streaming Hearthstone are and other games are getting help while they're playing.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that. But I did see one girl that had a coach in there, and he was like a top tier player. And she was making better decisions than he was, and he got embarrassed in front of the stream. It was so funny. I don't know if she paid him or if he just did it a favor because she's a girl. Usually those guys charge. But she did, well, actually, wouldn't it be better if I did this and then traded that and then buffed that and then did this? He's like, oh, yeah, actually, yeah. And I was like, oh.